Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 168 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, welcome back to episode 168 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you stay for a very long time. And if you've been here before, you guys know the deal. I love you deep. Thank you so much for your continued support and encouragement. I really couldn't do this without you, and I truly appreciate you for everything. So thank you. Before we get started with this week's episode, I also can be a little bit of a broken record talking about why we're here, but it is really important because we're building a safe space. And in this safe space, I treat it like a house, and I want to make sure that our foundation is strong. So our foundation is going to be built on two very important things, and that is clarity and love. Clarity is really straightforward. It's all about making sure that you understand that I created the Well Done Life brand because I believe that women are the foundation of society. And I personally think that we need more opportunities where we sit down and we talk and we share our journeys so that we can encourage and motivate each other. I really do believe it's all about being transparent. Let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about the things that we have been able to accomplish and the things that almost took us out. Life is hard. Adulting is hard. And so I want to create spaces where we can get to know each other, where we can build, grow, and empower. So I hope you know that in this space, that is what this is about. And now that you are clear about that, I like to then talk about my other foundation. And this is my favorite foundation because, I've told y'all before, I'm a sucker for love. I love love. And love is always going to be at the root of everything that we do in this space. And so for me, one of the greatest things that I feel like someone can do to show you love is to pray for you. And I feel like when two or more people come together in prayer, our prayers are magnified. So it's very important to me that every week I send you prayers. And so this week, I definitely want to send you prayers of peace. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like October has started off with a bang. It's been good. Nothing to complain about, but definitely I'm back at that Jumanji level adulting thing. Adulting is ghetto. It's like there's so much adulting to be done, but it always tends to be like that if you think about it at the last quarter of the year, because it's like this is the wrap up. This is the opportunity where we kind of have to address things that maybe didn't get addressed earlier in the year. It could be repairs, it could be budgeting, it could be anything, because you want to end the year off strong. So personally, I feel like I'm in a cycle of that. So I feel like I need to just make sure I preserve my peace and my energy. I have to remember that no matter what is thrown at me, I am equipped internally to be able to handle it. I have everything that I need. I am abundant. I can afford to pay for this, and it will not destroy me. And I know that sometimes that sounds like easier said than done, especially, with some of these Jumanji level things that we have to accomplish. But like I've kind of told you guys before, it's like, let's change our mindset around money. We have to understand that we are abundant. We work with money. Money works for us. We don't work for money. And so we surround ourselves in a level of abundance and focus. And so I want to make sure, not kind of kicking it back to the prayer of abundance, but talking about the prayer of peace, that we are maintaining our peace because we know that no matter what comes against us, we are more than equipped to handle it. And it is very important, especially with all the demands that are going to go on as we get even further into this season, into this quarter, and the holidays start to kick up. And that's a time where God knows our patience will be tried and tested. We have to make sure that we understand that in us, we are enough, that we have everything that we need, and our peace should make us still, and that we need to preserve our peace. We need to make sure we are prioritizing our peace. So I am sending you prayers of peace this week because, like I said, fourth quarter is off with a bang. So I want to make sure that we are already taking those foundational steps to make sure that we are preserving our peace as we go along this journey. And then kind of kicking it back, I started talking a little bit about abundance. And, again, in this season and this wrap up time, as we are trying to take care of things that maybe didn't get taken care of at the end of earlier in the year, and we are trying to prepare so that we can end strong, we do at times start to, give out a lot of money. We have to pay bills. We have to buy gifts. We have to do all the things. And I think one thing that we need to make sure that we remember is obviously we don't have to give gifts. Material things are great. I love material things, not getting me wrong. Believe me, I do. But I also think sometimes we have to remember it's about the little things. And many of us have been in seasons. I know myself, I have definitely been in seasons where I didn't have it to give. And I'm very grateful not to be in that season right now, but I don't take it for granted. And I also remember that, yes, I can do all the things that I want to do, but I have to do it within my budget. I have to make sure that I am taking care of my responsibilities. I am not here to impress people with gifts and financial things all the time. I am impressive based upon my spirit and my energy. And at the same time, I also do remember that abundance surrounds me. And I do have faith to recognize that if I need it, I can get it and it will come to me. So I want you to have a spirit of remembering that abundance is really a definition that applies to many different things. And we talk about it every week. I always send out prayers of abundance because, like I said, I want you to be financially prosperous. I want you to be a blessing to yourself and to other people. But I also want you to be abundant in your spirit, which ties back to those little things that I was just mentioning. And like I said, in this season where we are surrounded in consumerism, and it is very easy for us to put ourselves in situations where, we could get a little out of hand trying to, give and lavish our love on other people, we do have to remember that our love is not necessarily tied to how much money that we spend. Our love is tied to our actions every day. Our love is tied to the thoughtfulness of gifts, the thought behind the gift, not necessarily the gift itself. There are many levels of abundance. And so I just hope that everybody takes an opportunity, takes a beat to kind of dial into that. Like I said, it's not about putting yourself in debt unnecessarily. I've done that to myself. I don't want anybody else to be there because it's a hard way to dig yourself out, and it creates a lot of stress in yourself and in your life that you don't need to deal with, especially at this level of life that we are trying to do. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you don't give. It just means give within your limits. And don't be afraid of that. Understand that the people who truly love you and that understand you, they will recognize that there's nothing wrong with it because they're not so caught up, like I said, in the value of the gift. You're caught up more in the thought. You're caught up in the feeling and the fact that somebody took time to want to care about you and to want to give to you. That in itself is a beautiful thing. So I just like to make sure that I kind of offer that out there because, again, like I said, we're kind of in the fourth quarter. All the things are happening. We're teeing ourselves up to go into the first quarter of 2024, and we want to end this year off strong. And one of the things that I feel like we just need to talk about is remembering that abundance does not necessarily mean that we have to be extravagant. That doesn't necessarily mean that we have to put ourselves in debt, and that we are abundant not just in our pockets, we're abundant in our spirit too. So I just wanted to make sure I said that. Again, it's kind of counseling myself as well as counseling you because like I said, I've been there, been broke, I've been down, I've been all those things. And at one point in time soon, I will probably dig a little deeper into that because I do want all of us to be in a season of comfort, to be in a season of rest. But I remember what it was like not to have it. And during the holidays, you feel so much pressure. So I just want to make sure that I am sending you prayers of abundance so that you will remember as you are preserving your peace, that you don't have to put yourself into situations that are not conducive to your long-term growth to impress people in a short-term situation. Boom. And also remember, you are financially abundant, be spiritually abundant as well. So those are my two prayers for you. As well as I'm also praying that you will take some time for rest. It is essential. I mean, I cannot say enough how stressful things can be. Make sure you prioritize getting some sleep. Make sure you prioritize sitting in stillness, clearing your thought, and just giving your body time to recalibrate and your mind. Because again, so much going on in the world, so many things, and we try to do all the things. Remember, you have to dial into you. You have to tap into who you are, because physical health and mental health do go hand in hand. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but they do. So I am sending you prayers of rest as well. So those are just my prayers for you this week. I could wax poetically more about prayer, but we're going to stop there because I feel like those are kind of definitely the ones that I want you to glean on. But of course, I'll be back next week with more. And I hope that you feel the love that I feel for you because, like I said, I love you deep and I truly, truly mean it. But this week I am recording on Wednesday, October 4th. It is 10:43 p.m. And I'm really glad to be here. It has been a challenging couple of days. Good, but challenging because again, it's like we're in that busy season, that fourth quarter where everything has to happen now. And you feel all the pressures. I feel it at work. I definitely have been doing some Jumanji level adulting, just trying to do things at the house and take care of stuff at my family. And I'm feeling a little tired, but I'm grateful and overwhelmed and all the things. I think that this is just the feeling that you have when you're in the fourth quarter. But again, I'm grateful. And so I'm just trying to lean into that. And so this week, I'm very grateful because I get an opportunity to introduce a new guest to you. And I'm very excited to share our conversation. But I want to thank everyone first and foremost for their support of Dr. Linnea Richardson, Mental Health and Motherhood, episode 167 that aired last week. If you hadn't had a chance to check it out, I would definitely recommend it. Linnea and I had a really good conversation around mental health. And, I think it's an opportunity for people to really think about, maybe getting a therapist makes sense. And just because let's kind of dispel some of the notions that, exist within the Black community, and I'm sure in other communities as well, around therapy. I mean, it is something that we are talking about. Mental health is so important. And so I'm just grateful that we were able to have that conversation as well as kind of dive into motherhood. I'm not a mom, but I do feel like I'm in this season where I am surrounded by mothers and mothers on varying different levels and talking about their journey and the impacts to generational trauma and healing. So I definitely will be working more with Dr. Richardson in the future, and I can't wait to share what we have planned for you all. But this week, like I said, I have another guest, and I'm really excited to introduce Robin Muhammad to the podcast. Robin and I connected a few months ago via social media, and she is a certified nutritionist. And we talked about her journey because kind of like what I mentioned earlier in prayer, your physical health and your mental health all go together. So I'm very excited about sharing our conversation and diving into her journey through taking care of herself physically, how her mental health journey has gone. We talk about love because she is a newlywed, as well as her experiences from her previous relationship to generational traumas and how it could be impacting her daughter. So it was a really holistic conversation. So I would recommend that you grab a cup of tea, some water, wine, whatever floats your boat. Sit back and relax, and Robin will be with you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and so I'm getting used to my new name because only a month ago I had a different name.
Wow.
I just got married. I am a
Congratulations.
nutritionist. I am an entrepreneur. I am a mother of a college student. And I've just had, like we all have, and I'm in my late 48. So lots
Okay.
of experiences that we touch on. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
I love it. You've definitely got quite a lot going on for you. So here, like I said, I think we're going to talk a little bit about love. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about nutrition because you are a licensed nutritionist. And I think that I've never had an opportunity to talk to someone in that field. So I have lots of questions. And my first question always is, how did you find your passion for nutrition? Like, how did you get started?
It found me, Pamela. It found me when I was in my 20s. Actually, growing up, I didn't have a clue about food, nutrition, and what it would do to the body. And I was pre-diabetic. I was overweight and still didn't think to do anything different. It was when I had my daughter. So when I was 30, I thought, oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness, I don't know how to feed her. Like I've been blessed with this whole human and I eat out of a can and I don't know how to feed her. And that's what started me to figure out and study. And then I had a nutrition coach. And then what I realized, Pamela, was that through that journey, the pounds came off when I started
Right.
shifting what I ate and I started adding actual nutrients to my body. I was eating a lot of food that was not alive and I didn't know. I thought if it's in the grocery store, you should just eat it. That's what I thought.
Right.
And I discovered that food will either kill you or keep you alive. That was my journey. And so that I did a career shift. I went to graduate school for something else, undergrad for something else. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to share everything that I've learned with others
Mm-hmm.
because maybe others are like me and did not know what the power of food can do. Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. And because I think about it, I'm not too far. I'm a little older than you, but Generation X, we are the kids that were like latchkey kids. We were the kids that grew up on a lot of, microwaves were hot microwavable food. I remember growing up on a diet of Hot Pockets and Tyson chicken patties. And there was nothing wrong with that at that point. My mom and dad were both working. So it was just like trying to, get meals that would be easy for us to fix as we got older. But you don't think about the nutritional aspects of how that affects your life going further.
You have no idea. I mean, when you were saying about the Hot Pockets, I was thinking, yes, the boxed macaroni and cheese
Oh,
and
yeah.
the pot pies in the oven and the TV
Mm-hmm.
dinners, all of those things. And no,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother didn't know. She,
Yeah.
it's like this is easy, this is convenient. So we'll eat this. We don't,
Right.
and a lot of people don't know. And what I really find is that when we have aches and pains and things, we don't always relate it to what we ate. Like we don't think like, oh, my leg is swollen or my elbow is hurting. Does that have anything to do with what I ate? It doesn't
Right.
seem like it does, but a lot of times it does.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Because I mean, we have to think about it like all that processed food. Our parents grew up on like my mom and dad. My mom more so than my dad, but my mom grew up on a farm, so she was used to
Uh-huh.
having fresh vegetables and all those kind of things. And then as society changed and we got quicker, faster, more focused on work centered, we had to be convenient. And so you find that health
Yeah.
is not convenient. I'm curious, like you said, for
Mm-mm.
yourself, it was tapping into your body. Do you recall like the point where you
Mm-hmm.
were just like, I'm ready to make this switch?
Well, there was a time where I actually passed out because I had blood sugar issues, but that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the catalyst. It really was, I just really wanted to be a better mom. I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
know. In essence, I was doing it for her. And then once I started shifting what I ate, so I'm gonna be candid. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
I used to have chronic yeast infections. I used to have allergies that I didn't know that I had. I just had all these
Mm-hmm.
things that I didn't know they were wrong. And I didn't know everybody didn't have a yeast infection. I thought everybody did. I don't know. So, but when I started shifting what I ate, I thought,
Right.
whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. My body is different. I feel different. And then from a confidence level, by getting the pounds off, you just feel different in your clothes.
Yeah.
And I had more energy. I mean, all the things. I was a different person. And I thought, I don't want to go back to who I was. I used to shake because my blood sugar would be off
Oh,
kilter.
wow.
I would be all
Yeah.
the things. So
Mm-hmm.
just slowly but surely making that change, I just felt good. And this is the thing, Pamela, you don't feel good until you feel good. Because once you
True.
start feeling good, you think, right, you don't know that that's
Yeah.
not how you're supposed to feel.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because you get
And
used to being in a cycle of pain and uncomfort.
yeah. But Pamela, it's hard. It's very hard. I'll say this. It's hard your mind has to be ready for a shift because
Mm-hmm.
initially, I mean, my journey's been over 18 years, but when someone was saying, oh, don't eat cheese, I'm like, what? Don't eat
Yeah.
cheese? What do you mean don't eat cheese? Or not eat fried foods or beef or certain things that I don't eat now, I was like, this didn't sound right for me. Like, what do you mean? These are things.
Yeah.
So I had to slowly but surely make a shift. And what I noticed by making this shift, even though I didn't want to do those things, I said, at least let me try it. I'll try it.
Right.
Like, I'll go without cheese for a little bit. And then that's when things started to change. And then I'm like, and then once things started to change, and then I was not convinced, so then I went back to eat those things. Then my body let me know, nah, no, ma'am.
Right.
You can't
Like,
go
this
back
is
here.
not your ministry. Totally get it. I know for
Not
myself,
it.
I was a junk food person a lot more than when I was younger than I am now. For part of my journey, one of the things that I discovered for myself when I was eating at my poorest, I'm an emotional eater. And so I know that, like, when things weren't going well, if I was stressed out, when I went through severe traumas, I would look for food as a comfort. And I had to learn how to deal better with how I process my emotions so that I could make better choices. Did you ever find, as you were eating and going through your health, discovery, that maybe emotions also kind of triggered you to eat the wrong things too?
So let me say this, what I did discover, because I didn't know who I was or who I wasn't when it came to food. And I didn't know how others were. So let me say this. Once I started studying nutrition and then became a nutritionist, and then I started working with clients, I was naive initially. And I say this because I would create nutrition plans, because my coach created a nutrition plan for me and I followed it, and that was it. She gave me the plan, I followed it, and that was that. But what I realized is when I started working with hundreds of people, it wasn't that simple. That actually more people use food as emotional support than I even imagined. That wasn't my challenge. But what happened was, it was my challenge with a lot of my clients. And what I discovered as a nutritionist, people come to a nutritionist, but when you have an emotional relationship with food, a nutritionist is not the answer per se. They can help you, but it's deeper than that. And a lot of nutritionists are not qualified to go into that area. And so I'm not an emotional eater. I'm an emotional non-eater. So when something is
Oh.
bothering me, I do not want to eat. But again, I'm the lesser. I mean, that's not what most people do. And then so
Right.
during the time of a nutritionist, I actually had to collaborate with therapists and other people that could actually help my clients the best, because that's what I discovered. And and this is the thing, what I understand, Pamela, is a lot of people don't don't know that they're eating emotionally.
Hmm.
Because I say I get a lot of clients that come to me. I'm a nutritionist, and they're like, "Help me." And then I realize, no, it's not me that you need. It's not that I can't help you, but just writing a nutrition plan. If it were easy, everybody would have their problem solved. It's not that easy. It's deep,
Yeah. And
deeper
a
than
lot of
that.
times it's like, it is. And it's like, you have to be at a point where you can really, like, bear your truth. Cause I do think that sometimes people jump the gun and look for a
Yeah,
nutritionist versus trying to find a balance emotionally. And I think it's not saying it's one over the other. I kind of feel like it has to be both, because you're going to need to learn proper
so
coping
both.
techniques.
Yeah,
Yeah, as well as you're eating
correct,
well. So I find it very interesting that you are an emotional
correct.
non-eater, but then you are working with people who are emotional eaters. But I commend you for at least trying to, get more insight into how an emotional eater thinks so that you can better treat them. Because I don't think a lot of people would do that. Sometimes, you get very caught up in how you see food and you think everybody should see it that way, but they don't.
No, and I think I grew so much as a person by
Mhm.
being a nutrition. I currently don't work with clients one on one anymore. I still have my business, and it's taken another turn. But I became very. I'm not a therapist, but I
Mhm.
began to, because they would talk to me, or my clients would really
Yeah.
confide in me, and I learned so much unofficially by dig help, by hearing what was going on. And I think we all have trauma and we manifest it differently. So I'm not an emotional eater, but I have to, it's like when you don't have, you've not mastered coping, you do it in other ways.
Right.
If you haven't mastered, right? So some people eat, some people don't. Some people use drugs, some people don't. Some people use alcohol, some people use sex. I mean, there's different
Absolutely.
ways that people manage their trauma. Yeah. And I actually had trauma when it came to love.
How do you feel like that impacted you in love? Because you mentioned like you didn't feel more confident until you got healthy. So how do you feel like that was a role in your love life until where you are obviously now?
So I always feel like it's a separate thing because I'll say this about my love, in a nutshell. I'm 48. I just got married for the first time. And it took us 29 years to get to this point because I was carrying a lot of baggage from childhood, which is what we all do. And I was not able to give my heart because I was carrying trauma. But being a nutritionist and being more comfortable in my body certainly helped physically, but it did not help me mentally, if that makes sense. Like I had more confidence, as I walked through the room, but that still didn't take away the baggage that I carried. Yeah.
Do you feel like by becoming healthy physically, that it helped you get the strength to deal with your baggage and your trauma more? Or were you already in the journey regardless of how you felt?
Well, I could say this, the better you eat, the better you think. That's just the better that you can make decisions. Honestly, if your body is imbalanced because of food, then you have imbalanced thoughts. Right. So that there is because there is a correlation between mental health and mental wellness and what we eat. So that is that. I think I've always been a person where I've been asking questions of myself and soul searching. And sometimes in life, sometimes you don't know that you have a issue until a situation happens and then it comes to the forefront. But my love problem stemmed from my childhood when I would see violence with my mother and my father. And I thought love meant violence. So like love just was violent. And I thought I can't love anybody because I don't want to be so enthralled in them that I can't see straight. So I thought, if I fall in love, they're going to beat me. Like I really, really, really believe that all of my adult life. And I refused to be in a deep relationship because of that I held with me. Yeah. So like I said, people eat emotionally. And my problem was it didn't manifest through food. It manifested in other ways.
Yeah. And I think that that's a very brave thing to say, because obviously, like you said, that was a severe trauma that you experienced and has stayed with you for a long time. And the fact that you're helping other people obviously heal physically, but then at the same time, you're healing mentally.
Yes.
It definitely shows the ability to balance it and how it all kind of works together, probably to create this better side of life. Can you tell us, I guess, like in the journey, because you've been on it for 29 years, what is one of the biggest things that you have learned that you're still applying in your relationship right now, since you're married now?
Yeah. And we're actually married. We were together 5.5 years, long distance, I want to say. So it's a lot to this story, but we've been married for like a month and a half.
Right.
So I'm newly married, but I just had to do a lot of work, Pamela, a lot of work. And actually, you have to repeat the question to me because I think I actually missed the question because I really want to answer that. But what I will say this about being a nutritionist and hearing everybody's stories is it gave me a lot of compassion and understanding for people and what they're really going through. And it also gave me a little bit more of an insight into me. Like I hear all these stories and I thought, oh my gosh, they may manifest it like their pain, their trauma, they eat my pain, my trauma, I disconnect from other people. I disconnect or I make myself unavailable, but we're all dealing with something that we need to bring to the forefront so that we can love and be healthy. Because honestly, if you're carrying any weight, physically, mentally, whatever it is, your life is not all that it can be. And so what I learned is that my life was not all that it could be because I wasn't acting within my nature. I wasn't being fully expressed as a person. When you don't have, like, love is such a powerful force in your life. And when you are running from it and denying yourself of it and not trying to get close, you are denying yourself of what you were created to be and to do. That's what I learned, that all these years I was denying myself of my fullness as a person, as a woman.
Yeah. That's very powerful because and to say that out loud, because I'm sure that there are other people who would feel the same way, because you're essentially saying you were emotionally unavailable. And so you're only allowing yourself to be able to live at like a certain level. And now that you have, and now that you've gotten this far, and now that you are, or let me ask this way, before I even make that assumption, would you now consider yourself emotionally available?
Yes. And I'm nicer as a person, like nicer to the world, I would tell you. Yeah, I am. I don't think I was mean before, but I think that I have more compassion for the struggles that people have. And yes, I'm more emotionally available, but it was like peeling the layers of an onion. Like it was just over time. And this particular, well, not this particular person, my husband, I felt like he went in and pulled me out. Like he was patient with my walls, and because like I said, it took 29 years. So
yeah, that's a long time. That's being patient.
Yeah, that's real patience. Yeah, I'm thinking. And at some point, I don't know that I didn't think I was worth. I think now that I'm looking at it, I think I didn't feel worthy of that type of love for some reason. I'm just thinking about it because it really did transform me. It really transformed me. And when you have closed walls and who you connect to is like, it's energy, it's frequency. So if you're not being your highest and best self, what you're going to attract is not someone that's going to be helping you get to your highest and best self when you're blocking. So I had to do a lot of work. And he and I were friends for so long. We were friends. So I actually didn't have a wall up because we were friends, and I wasn't trying to date him. I wasn't trying to impress him. So I was honest, and then we built this friendship. And the next thing you know, I'm like, oh my goodness, we're in love over like all those years. So.
I love it. I was going to say, you guys being that route. Yeah. How do you recall the moment that you knew, like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and crack the wall. I'm ready. Let's do this. Do you recall what it was?
So like, let me start with the story, because I got to go back to the story. So we met when I was 19. Okay. We were both in college. And when I met him, he was, or is, a very religious man. And at 19, I was off the hook. We'll call it that way. I was living my best life in college. I was doing all the things, whatever that is. What you imagine, I was doing all the things. And so at that time, our lives just didn't, I'm like, you're straight and narrow, and I'm, not. Yeah, I was doing things. And so we were friends, and he was just, so because I just never imagined that we would be together because of that, he was just like a friend. So we would talk. And then probably 16 years into our friendship, so 16 years into our friendship, it quietly started to change, but I don't think I was ready to admit it. And then he told me he loved me. And I was like, what? Like, love me, like, love me.
Uh-huh.
And then the problem was, Pamela, that I was in a relationship with somebody else, and I had a young daughter.
Okay.
So when I discovered that there was this incredible bond between us, I was in a situation that I couldn't get out of, and I wanted to, and I tried to, and it was another 8 years went past, and I was very sad. I would say I cried about every day, because I was, when you've committed to one life, but there's another life that you see, and it was awful. So 8 years went past, and then I couldn't take it anymore, and I just said, I gotta be with the person that I know that I'm supposed to be with.
Oof.
And it was drama the whole time.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it's very difficult, very, very difficult. So we endured. We endured other people. We endured distance. We endured my baggage. We endured some things. Yes, Ooh. To have a well done life. Yeah. It's a sweet love story. It really it's you know what it is. All things are possible. That's what I know. All things are possible, and sometimes you don't like. I didn't think it would end this way. Like, I just thought I did not think we would get together, because it just looks so impossible. There were so many obstacles, so many. I mean, it just seemed impossible, and I gave up on it. And then something in my spirit was like, you got to go for it. Like, gotta go for it. So here we are.
I think that's beautiful, but that's truly is a testament of courage and betting on yourself. Like, it seems like that has been something very prominent for you. Like, you bet on yourself with your health, you bet on yourself with your love, and risked it all. What's one of the things that you have learned in all of that? The greatest lesson that you have learned in everything for that?
There's a lot of lessons that I've learned, but I think that, Pamela, you really, we know the answers inside, like whatever it is, whatever thing we're going through deep down in the depths of our soul, we know the answer. And I've just learned to get quiet and go deep within and say, like, at a core level, at a spirit level, really say, what do I need and what should I do? Because it's not being in my head, but it's being in my heart. And because your head will tell you things, the people will tell you things, and so I had to really go into my heart and be afraid and do it anyway. Because I actually moved across the country. So I moved from California to Maryland,
right,
across the country, all the things for this love.
Yeah,
for this love.
And that's a lot of risk.
And love is tricky. I mean, everyone knows, or maybe most relationships don't work. I think the statistics, most marriages don't work. And so that was because I was always looking for a reason for it, like looking for evidence that this wouldn't work. Because remember, I was baggage. I was afraid. I was just looking to run, basically. I was looking for a reason to run. And I'm like, okay, well, most marriages don't work. Most long distance relationships don't work. I was just like thinking, well, if they don't work, then mine won't either. And even in spite of all of that, all of that, we made it to this point. I think, I think there's somebody for everybody. I think there's somebody for everybody. And true love, it doesn't die, and it can stand the test of time. That's what I learned. That true love, if you're truly have that person, you cannot see them. They can be gone, and you not see them. And then if that connection is there, it will stay there. It doesn't go away. I learned that it does not go away.
That is beautiful.
It doesn't go away.
I love love. So I truly believe in love. And I think that you're right. True love does last,
I didn't believe in it either. I didn't disbelieve. I didn't believe in it for me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't, I never wanted to be married. I never thought of, no, I actually had a child as a unmarried woman, unfortunately, because I just had a different mindset. I thought, oh, I could just do this by myself. I'm a Black woman. I can do it
Oh,
all.
yeah.
Nope.
Right.
Yeah. I was like, no, I can. But who made me think this was right? hmm And I just had a shift. I think that's like I had a shift in my nutrition. I changed. That's the thing. You know what it is? Things come into your life, and then you thought you were doing things you were doing things a certain way, and then something came along and shifted, and you thought, oh my gosh, this is a better way. So with my food, I was eating a certain way. Something came into my life and shifted, and then my life got better. And then with love, because both food and love. So food it sustains you. You need food, and then love. I know this now. It changes your world. It changes your world. It just does. And when with the food, I made the shift. It took a while. I didn't just, I still wanted to eat cheese, and it took a while over time. And then with the love, it took 29 years for me to trust it. Because I'm thinking, after 29 years, you still want to
Yeah,
hang
he's
out with, I
consistent.
mean, you really consistent. Yeah. And then it's like one day my heart just opened up. And then when we got married, we had a small ceremony because I felt like, oh my gosh, like what if I run? Like what if and I cried because I was just shaking and crying. Yeah, because it's like, yeah, it's all of the emotions, all of the feelings coming
Mhm.
out in at once. Yeah, and it was like, and I'm going to say this. I was like, what if I pee on myself? What if I'm so nervous? I pee on myself.
But yeah, it's a lot
So,
going through your mind,
but,
obviously. Yeah.
but it's a transformation. Food
Mhm.
and nutrition will transform your body and mind. Love will transform your spirit. And I can tell I move differently through the world. Well, I will never, it's like once not tasted it, but once I've let myself feel and be in this, I can never go back to who I was because I'm no longer her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just wonder, why do some people find the love and some people don't? That's really my question. It is, because are some people more deserving? I don't know. That's a question that I really have, because sometimes I say, well, why me? I know a
Mhm.
lot of amazing women that, and they're alive still, so it doesn't mean they can't find that or it doesn't come to them. But I
Mhm.
always wonder why some people find it and why some people don't. That's the question that I don't. Do you know the answer?
I know. I was gonna say
Yeah.
I don't.
So,
I'm single. I have not. I've never been married. I love love though, but then I think
mm,
about. I used to think that same way. Like I used to think that I would never find love. I kind of lived my life in the
that's
same accordance that I wouldn't. I used to think about when I was younger. I would think of I'd have a child without a husband, and I would just be a corporate
mm,
maven and make
yeah,
good money and have nice things and all those things. But I attribute that, if I look back on it now,
yeah,
I wasn't confident that I deserved it. Even though I grew up in a great
mm,
household, I had two very loving parents, all of those things, I did
yeah,
not believe in me because I didn't feel I was worthy. But now, I'll be honest, I don't feel those ways at all. I have healed that trauma inside of me, and I know that I am deserving of love. And so I try to put out the
yes,
love that I want to receive. And I just have left it
yes.
up that I have belief
I
that I'll find it.
I used to didn't believe I deserved him, my husband. I was just like, oh my goodness. Like I felt like initially that,
Yeah.
like, I didn't deserve him. That's how I felt. It's taken, and now I know I deserve him and he deserves me. Like I get it. But there
Absolutely.
was a time where I didn't have the confidence, I guess,
Hmm.
early on. And then I was going to, I am woman hear me roar, have my career, and
Yep.
just like I don't need a man kind of a thing, or a partner. That's what I thought. Yeah, I think somewhere along the way we're being told that maybe
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
young girls. I'm not sure where we got that from, but we got it. And
Hmm.
but now that I know I spent so much of my life building my business and having a career, I it's not as fulfilling, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. It doesn't
Okay.
mean I'm right. Being in love is greater than anything that I've ever had. Any other achievement. It's the greatest thing ever because I move through the world differently. You know what? I'm my higher and best self in this space. I'm my
Mm.
higher and best self in this space. And things that used to matter don't matter before. And you know what it is? I'm less egotistical, I think, I don't know if that makes sense. But I think being married, it's not as everything was about me, about my feelings, my thoughts, me. And now
Uh-huh.
it's not. And it just changes me. I
Oh,
want everybody to have this. That's my prayer.
gosh,
Yeah, I
I want some
do.
of that too. Yeah, I think I want that for myself. I want that for everyone as well. Everybody deserves to be their highest and most beautiful
Yeah.
self. And you found someone who helps you be that. I think that that is a beautiful thing. How do you feel like this has like translated into your relationship with your daughter?
I look back on what went wrong. So my daughter's 18, and
Hmm.
I'm partially answering the question, but I she would I was in the relationship with her father for a long time, and it was dysfunctional. So that then gives her a dysfunctional view of relationships. And now she sees me in this relationships, and I think it confuses her.
Mm.
I do. I think it confuses her as to what's good, it's because she asked me a lot about like basically how did I make the choice to get in the
Hmm.
relationship with her father basis how did I get to this choice. So I think she's confused at 18, and I
Hmm.
didn't unfortunately have her in a situation that was loving and all it yeah it didn't. So I think I may have messed her up a little bit. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I don't think she has a good view of men, and that's not good. That's unfortunate.
In that I could understand how that happens because you were a different person, obviously, with her
I was
father than where you are
first.
now. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
find?
The problem is with childhood. What I say with childhood is all of us. We're born into parents who are younger when they or however they were. They grew, they evolved, and then but we gave birth to them as we were at that time, and they were a product of who we were at that time. And as I evolved, she already grew up, and so I'm going to say she's scarred, which is awful. But reality sucks, Pamela. The truth, reality is pretty rough sometimes. Pretty rough sometimes,
I can agree. It can get tough, but I guess I'm hopeful. Or do you feel like where you are now lends to you having more conversations with her, where she can start to see that, okay, yes,
Yes.
I made the decisions that I made, but you don't have to stay in those decisions. You don't have to do it. Like, do you feel like there's room for you guys to have more conversation now where she can maybe level set and get a better perspective?
I think what she's seeing now, what she's seeing, and I want her to see is someone treating her mother in the highest regard, because that's why she felt like men are not right or good or what have you. It's because of what she saw. And so now with my husband, he treats me like, I always tell him, I'm like, if you would make other couples upset, baby, because he really acts like he likes me a lot.
Oh, well, good.
And
I'm glad he
so
likes you a lot.
yeah. And so he treats me so well. And so what I love is that my daughter gets to see what love really looks like. So I'm hoping that will somewhat erase what she saw at first, because what she saw, it's like being a product of your environment. I saw dysfunction, so I got dysfunction. My daughter was born into dysfunction by
Right.
my choosing, by my unhealed self. And now she gets to see me love and be loved in a way that I would want her to see. So hopefully it'll inspire her. And for my mother, I got to see my mother. So my mother got married in her 40s for the first time. So she's with my dad. Similar, I guess. I took after her a little bit. And now she's in a loving relationship. She's been married 33 years.
That's beautiful.
And so I get to see what I didn't see growing up. So hopefully this is interesting.
That's okay.
So interesting.
Oh no, that's okay.
An alarm going off.
That's okay. And I'm going to edit that out. I'm going to say that's confirmation that we're onto something. That's some confirmation. That's what that is about.
Yes. That is so interesting.
It is, because it is very interesting because of just like the path that you are talking about. I have been like in this season of, I feel like I am being surrounded by a lot of women or people in general who are on healing journeys based upon trauma. And the trauma that I see is like this generational cycle of trauma. And I see a lot of women, especially because obviously with the podcast, we more cater to women, but trying to heal through like emotional availability, traumas and trying to heal through all those generational things and how hard it is. And listening to you speak about your relationship with your daughter, and I'll be honest, you sounded like you have a tinge of regret when you're talking about her and what you've shown her.
Absolutely.
Totally. How are you battling through that? I guess that's the thing, because it's your mother's story. Because I personally have a different perspective from hearing what you just said. Now I feel like you are like you've broken a generational curse or a generational trauma, if you think about it, because you saw your mother and now she's had a healthy, loving relationship. You were in that same pattern, but now you're in a healthy, loving relationship. So I feel like you're set up to show your daughter you don't have to make the mistakes that grandma and I made. You can live a whole new path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it's hard because she's like, men are trash. That's what she says. It's not good. She really is like, men are just bad.
Well, she's also 18 though, too. So yeah.
So,
do you mind if I dig in a little? Does she have a good relationship with her father, or no?
Sure.
Does she have a good relationship with her dad, or no?
That's interesting. It depends on who you ask. I guess you're asking me. So it's fractured.
Yeah.
It's fractured. It's fractured. It's a fractured relationship.
Yeah. And that's fair.
It's a fractured relationship because, it's fractured because of what she saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
So,
and
it's fractured.
Okay. Because a lot of times, obviously, in those fractures, and like even you're doing atonement, you're trying to heal it, you're trying to talk to it. I was curious if he was trying to do that as well.
So it's fractured, and it's interesting. So I'll say this: her dad is we have generational and cultural differences, so that's another factor. Her father is 50 years older than her, so he's in his late 60s, almost 70. She's 18. Yeah. So and then he's from another country. Yeah. So it's a lot going on. Fun stories, the generations. It's just a lot. So
yeah, I get that.
So it's just, life is complicated. I would say that there's so much work that we have to do and so much grace we have to give ourselves. And I also know I wouldn't have been able to uncover my trauma, my baggage alone. That I couldn't have. I needed someone to help me work through it. So how did you work through yours, or how are you working through anything that you're going through? Are you able to just Do you have
Oh, yeah.
therapy? Do you just do it alone,
I
or?
went to therapy for, I was in therapy for a good, probably about a good 2 to 3 years steady. I would go weekly. I
Okay.
went to therapy
Yeah.
for the first time after my dad passed away. And I just was like at a point where I was suicidal because it was just too much trauma between him
Okay.
passing away and I became a caregiver and I had to like go out here and try to function. I just kind of lost myself in the grief. And so I went to
Mm-hmm.
therapy. I had to go because that was the only thing that was going to save me.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I always tell people the only reason I didn't kill myself, it wasn't because I loved me. It was because I knew there was nobody to take care of my mother or my sister. So I lost myself in all that. And I
I,
did go through that. Yeah. So
you know,
therapy.
it's life has its stages. It really
Mm-hmm.
therapy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what I also know about life is you can think you're healed and then here comes something else
Heck yeah.
that you
Yep.
didn't foresee.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 And,
I've never been through therapy. Go ahead.
oh, no, no, no.
You
The only
what
thing
is
I was
something?
going to say is that therapy and physical health go together. I saw that because I
Yeah.
had a knee injury and I had to learn how to like walk straight again. It took me like almost a year. I
Okay.
had to go back to therapy in the middle of it because I got depressed. And so that's why I kind of
Yes.
was deliberating about how it is so important to how health and physical health and mental health go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. You know, when I think about it, now that I'm really thinking about it, my clients and my career, now I'm just having an aha moment right now because
Mhm.
there was a time where I said, God, why did you make me a nutritionist? Because I'm like, I didn't, this wasn't like my career choice, but I ended up here. But what I realized that through working with clients for so many years and being so close with them and them talking to me and feeling like they had permission to be who they were allowed me somewhere along the way to feel like we all need grace. We all are going through some stuff and we all need someone not to judge us. And just being with my clients, even again, I'm not a therapist by trade, but they helped me heal, I would say. Like as they were sharing their truth, because a lot of them, again, had emotional eating challenges and they would share with me what got them to that. And I started to realize, oh my gosh, like I'm not alone in my trauma. Again, I'm not an emotional eater. That's not how it manifested, but it could have. That just wasn't my story. But hearing everybody else's story made me understand we have deep things going on. And the more I heard everybody's story, the more it helped me to release what I was holding on to. So that now that I think about it, helped me. And then, of course, my husband was, I would say he was my therapist. He's not a licensed therapist either, but he's so spiritual. So he was
Right.
always had a spiritual answer to all of my problems. But talking to someone and being able to just be 100% honest, be it if it's a therapist or someone you feel like you really could just talk to, is so useful. And so everybody listening, because we all have some trauma,
Heck
some
yeah.
sort of trauma, we have to be able to get it out, talk it out, get it
Hmm.
from our cellular level out. Because if it doesn't get out, it will run your life in
Absolutely.
so many ways, in ways that you just don't want it to. That's for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because I mean, like I was saying, I really do feel like physical health and mental health go very hand in hand.
Together.
Because
You're right about that. Let me say this. This is kind of a sidebar, but this is a new discovery. So I've been eating well for the past 18 years, but there were some stressors in my life recently. Just my daughter's going to college. I'm getting married, and all the things,
yeah.
right? And so I had a anxiety or a panic attack, and then
Hmm.
my blood pressure went like through the roof, and there was all kinds of stuff going on. And so I know you can eat as well as you want to eat, but if you have some stress going on, that will get you. So they
Oh,
go hand in hand. Being able to
absolutely.
eat well and think well.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
we kind of
eating
have to
well
think
and
about
thinking
that.
well. They go hand in hand.
Yeah,
And both of them are hard to do.
absolutely. And we have to, like
Yeah.
I said, kind of think about
They're
the
both
fact
very
that
hard.
They're very hard. We work so much. We're so busy. We're so constantly doing things. It's easy to get triggered because you're right. You could be healthy as
Mhm.
can be, but then your blood pressure shoot up just from an email. I mean, it's just so many things that we have to learn how to control our
Girl,
environment.
yes. Yeah, and that's a new thing. I think that's a new thing that I'm getting to learn. Like, oh, I'm eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. Oh, I'm
Hmm.
doing all these things. But it's if my mind is not centered in a
Yeah.
certain place, and I can still stress my body out. Fruits and vegetables be damned. So
Oh.
I'm learning how to be easier.
Well, I was going to say, I
Yeah,
hope
that's I
that
think.
you,
Yeah, I'm just like,
yeah, be, yeah. I like that. I think that's the best way to kind of go about life sometimes. And especially right now, you're in your honeymoon phase. I mean, hopefully it's
I
that
am,
way.
and it's a nice place.
Good. You
Yeah,
deserve
yeah,
it.
yeah. We're really good friends. Yeah, we're really good friends though. It's like he's like I don't know. He's my girlfriend, but he's my man. Like he's just like a buddy of mine. I mean,
I love
you
that.
have a good girlfriend that you just want
Yeah.
to hang out with, and
Hmm. Yeah.
you could tell them everything. Yeah, I could tell him stuff that probably I could tell him things that you would only tell your girlfriends, kind of a thing. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool because that's your best friend and that's how it should be. I was going to say, I know
Yeah.
we've talked about quite a bit of things. Like we've talked about your nutrition, we've talked about love, we've talked about children. Now I kind of have like what I do is like a little speed round, just a few things just to ask. I already know one thing. I can tell you're
Got it.
happy. I see that. I was going to say, what
Yes.
is one thing that you did for yourself today to make yourself happy?
I ain't gonna tell you that.
Okay.
How about
I'm
that?
curious, but okay.
No, it's just being. I'm happy. So he and I hung out this morning. There.
Oh,
How about that?
okay. That'll work. I totally get that. I catch the tea. We're totally good. Okay.
Correct.
What do you have a word for 2023?
Yep.
What
Rebirth.
rebirth?
Rebirth.
Ooh,
Earth.
okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that was
Awesome.
easy. I knew I already. Yeah, rebirth. Yep.
I love it. Definitely. And if there was one thing that you would want my audience to know about you that you haven't already said, what would that one thing be?
Yeah, yeah. That's a tough one. Oh gosh, I've not been stumped on. I don't even know what to answer to that because there's just so many things. But I just think right now,
Hmm.
gosh, does everyone know the answer to that?
No, and believe no, they
What's
don't. But
up?
I always like to say it like this: go with what's in your mind, because something instantly popped into your mind, and you're second guessing saying it. Don't second guess it. Say it, because that's the thing.
Okay. I think that I'll just say this. When I was a younger girl, when I was 10,
Hmm.
God spoke to me and just told me that I was different and that there's something divine, I think, going on in my life.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what I know. I guess I don't know if I want y'all to know, I guess, but that's what I know
Okay.
since I was a younger girl. And this is something about me. I'll say this. I've been journaling every day since I was 10 years old. So for 38 years, I've kept
Wow,
a journal.
I
And
love
that
it.
probably very therapeutic. So I've been able to write my thoughts and my feelings. And I've always had a certain kind of an insight. I can feel energy. I can meet someone and know if I have a deep insight on people. I guess I could say I'm not like psychic, but I
Hmm.
feel stuff. Yeah, I can feel stuff a lot. And the older I get, the better I get at it.
I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that means to me that you're a light because I always do believe that God gives everyone little gifts, that can help
Yes.
people in the world. So I feel like you're a light. Step
Yeah.
into your light, my dear.
Yeah. That's what I would say. I think that this is the thing. I think we all have what God has given us all something unique and special. And but if we don't if we're crowded by the noise, you can't sometimes hear. And I think I've learned to listen to the God within. That's what it is. But I think we all can. And as we grow, I've learned to really be able to listen to what God is telling me.
I love
That's
that.
where I am right now.
I like that. And
And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful.
I love that for
Yeah,
you.
I'm in a grateful space. Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
And I
Well,
never
ma'am.
this I don't I always I'm grateful and I'm happy. But this is what people I think confuse.
Okay.
Then they think, oh, all is well. Your life is perfect. No, I choose. There's all kinds of. I want to cuss, but there's all kinds of things
You
going
can.
on that are unsavory every day. But I'm thinking I choose to look at the positive side and the bright side and so when I say to your listeners, I'm happy. Not because everything is going well. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff that if I told you, you'd be like, "Oh, and you still happy?" Yeah, I am. I feel more peaceful, just because, like, peace for no reason today. Peace for no reason,
I love that.
in spite of. Yeah,
yeah.
life it's hard. It's going. People. This is the thing. People are dying a lot. People are dying a lot. Getting cancer a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being
Life is
sad
not easy.
a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and it happens to everybody. It doesn't even matter if you don't want that. I mean, it just life is lifing on everybody. So right now, I'm happy. I'm just happy just because that's it. Just because.
No, that's okay.
I have an option.
Yes, and you should have options and you should be happy just because you deserve it. And I love your light.
Yeah.
Like you are a light. I can see your light in you. So thank you. And before we wrap up, I want to give you an opportunity to let everyone know where they can follow you and find you. And I will make sure I have everything in the show notes. So don't feel like, I'm not going to cover you.
So I mentioned earlier on that I'm an entrepreneur, and my company, we produce vitamin D supplements.
Okay.
So you can find me. My website is necessaryvitamind.com, necessaryvitamind.com. And on Instagram, I'm Nessie Nutri. So NESSYNUTRI at Nessie Nutri on Instagram or necessaryvitamind.com. And check me out. I'd love to connect.
Awesome. Well, I will have all your information in the show notes. And like I said, I appreciate you being so candid and just sharing yourself and your energy. And so thank you. And I will make sure that I have everything out there so we can follow and support you. You're part of the clique now. So welcome. And I appreciate you again for joining. You're welcome. So guys, thank you again. And I will have all of her information in the show notes. And that's another confirmation, I guess. We're talking stuff now. It's like so much. So Robin, thank you. And I guess, guys, I will talk to you next week. So thanks, everyone. Have a great one. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.